Prashtham manumapi shachi putramatra swarupam Rupam tasyagrajam purpurim maturim goshtavatim Radha kundam girivaram O Radhika Madhvasham Prapto yasya prathita kripaya Sri Guru Tanatosmi Nindantang pulakotkarena vikasat nipa prasona chavim Prodvikritya bhujadvayam hari hari tyuchairvadantam muhu Nityam drutamasru nirjarachayai sinchantamurvitalam Gayantam anijaparshadaih parivritam Tam Gaurachandram Stumah Nalivik paripalita prabalita Ksanandamalokita Pratyasang sumanak palodaya vidho Samudamamudita Vrindaranya bhuvi prakasa madhura Sarvati sai sriya Radha madhavayo pramodayatu mam Ullasa kalpadruma Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Echai Gosai Rakari Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Vignana Shabhishta Puran Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare So we're still in the Priti Sandarbha, the 7th Anuchhed, and the subject is now, currently, we've been talking about it, it's a whole gradual discussion that's evolved. We're inquiring into Krishna's avatar lila and why some people saw him, why some people didn't see him, and also what about the it is said that when one sees Krishna, that all impurities are removed. So now we have to test this proposition, and we see that it's not always the case, that those who saw Krishna, all their impurities were removed. And even sometimes it's seen that Krishna's close associates, they also appear to be attached to material things. And they even say like that. They talk like that. So this is the next question that Jiva Goswami is dealing with. He says, Sri Gopanang tu Vishaya Sambandho na Swartha Kintu tat sevopayogartha eva. So Sri Gopanang tu Vishaya Sambandho na Swartaha Kintu tat sevopayogartha eva. So the purpose, the Vishaya Sambandha, right? Vishaya means the sense objects. So it can mean possessions, worldly life, worldly possessions, Vishaya. So that connection to the material objects that one sees in the cowherds is not for the swartha. It's not for their personal, selfish purpose. But tat sevopa yogartha. It's only so that they can serve him better. So that's what we saw in the previous one, that Harishye tad dhanang shanai. The person whom I'm going to show my mercy to, I take away his wealth, his power. So why? If you're not going to use it for seva, then why have it? It just becomes a source of pride. Even when you use it for seva, it can become a source of pride. So better one should have pure devotion, free of any pride. Anyway, here he goes, that says, why? So the question was, the Gopas, they're enjoying their sense objects also. They also have property, they have cows, they have, they're making money, they're going to they're partying. So, but here it says no, it says whatever they have, that comes from a Bhagavatam verse. Now this is a Bhagavatam verse from Brahma stuff, right? There Brahma says, Yadadham artha suhrit priyatma tanaya pranashayas tvat krite. So that's a very famous verse. And a very famous verse indeed, well worth reciting that verse. Esha ghosha nivasina mutabhavan kim devarate tina Cheto vishwafalat phalam tvadaparam kutrapyayana muhyati Sarve sadapi putanapi sakula Tvameva deva pita Yadadhamartha suhrit priyatmatanaya pranashayastvat krite. This is really a good verse. I mean, you're going to pick your verses. But 14th chapter of the Bhagavatam. It's one of the 10th canto, Brahma's prayers. There's a lot of jewels in those verses, and this is one of them. Right? So this is the thing. So this introduces. So this is the whole purpose of the whole Putana story. So the Putana story is going to come up here from this example. And also Putana comes up later on also. And the whole purpose, every time the Putana story comes up, it's the same thing. That Sadveshadapi Putanapi Sakula Natvameva Devapita. That she came simply dressed as a devotee, appearing as, playing a role. Inside, she had no such intent. It was only external, purely external. She was just playing a role with a evil intent. So this is such a good example. I mean, Putana, the example was given of Putana. It's a false guru, a person who comes and pretends to be a guru. But even a false guru is still being a guru. This is the thing. Okay? One has to see the guru part of the false guru instead of the false part. One will make more progress if he sees the guru part than if he sees the false part. Of course, eventually the false part has to be seen also, especially if the person is a guru vidveshi, if he's a bhakta vidveshi, Vaishnava vidveshi. if he leads you on the wrong path. If he leads you onto the path where there is hatred of religion, hatred of Vaishnavas, that person you should not have any guru consciousness of. Anyway, so Esham Ghosha Nivasinam Uta Bhavan Kim Devarate Nas Cheto Vishwa Phalat Phalam Tvadaparam Kutrapyayan Muhyati. It's a bit complicated from the Sanskrit point of view. Right? But these Gosha Nivasi, these residents of the Gosha, these residents of the cowherd community, I don't know what you will give to them, what you will bestow upon them. Cheto Vishwa Phalat Phalam Tvadaparam Kutrapyayan Muhyati. So you are the fruit, you are the Vishwa Phalat Phalam. Of all the goals, of all the purposes that are there that can be obtained from this universe, right? All the struggle, whatever the benefits that can be attained from being in this universe here and now, the greatest of those things is to attain Krishna. So he's the Vishwa Phalam Phalat Phalam. So he's saying, I don't know what you're going to give to these Brajavasis, because yourself, you're already given yourself to them, right? And they've given themselves to you. Yad dham artha suhrit priyatma tanayo pranashes tvatkrite. Their dhamma, their homes, their wealth, their friends, their beloved, their own bodies, their children, their life heirs, their hearts, everything, they've sacrificed it all to you. So Putana, Sadveshadapi Putana Sakula Tvam Eva Devapita, O Lord. You gave Putana the result of going to Goloka and of being your Dhatri Uchitam Gatim. Now, if that's the case, then what are you going to give for these Gokulavasis who've just completely surrendered everything to you, mind, body, spirit, and so on? So it's a Kimuta Nyaya. If God is so merciful that he even rewards the appearance of devotion, then how much he will reward real devotion, real love, real sacrifice, real vairagya, real renunciation of the non-Krishna. So even Putana, along with her family members, attained you merely because she dressed as a cowherd damsel. I don't know where I got this translation. Therefore my mind is bewildered when I think of what reward, other than yourself, the topmost of all rewards, you could possibly bestow on these residents of Braja, whose homes, wealth, dear relatives, body, sons, life, and hopes exist only for your sake. So then, another verse. So there were 3 examples given. Right? There's another one. This is coming from the 16th chapter. Right? So this is when they see beautiful picture. This is actually a beautiful verse of when the cowherds see Krishna locked in the coils. So Jiva Goswami has just quoted the 3rd line, which is very similar to the one we just saw. Krishne arpita atma suhrid artha kalatra kama. So the cowherds, they're described here as having given up to Krishna, or having offered up to Krishna their selves, that which is dear to them, their wealth, their wives, their desires, everything they had offered to Krishna, nothing for themselves. The rest of the verse, Tanga naga bhoga parivitam adrishta cheshtam alokya tat priya sakah pashupah drishata Krishnir pitatma suhridartha kalatra kama Dukkhanushoka bhayamurha dhiyo nipetuhu. So, tam naga bhoga parivitam adrishta cheshtam alokya. I think it should be alokya, but anyway, they not seeing, so adrishta cheshtam, they saw that he had been wrapped up in the coils of Kaliya. And so now they couldn't see what he was doing. He'd become invisible to their eyes. So the dear Krishna's dear friends, the cowherds, they all became extremely distressed. They had given up to Krishna everything. Their very selves, their families and friends, their wealth, their possessions, their desires, everything had been totally invested in Krishna. So therefore, so their intelligence became totally bewildered by different moods, dukkha, distress, shoka, grief, bhayam, fear. So their intelligence was completely bewildered by all these disturbing emotions. At seeing, fearing that Krishna was a goner in this battle with the powerful Kaliya. So they fell, nipetuhuk, they fainted. That's what out of fear they fainted like that. So Sri Yadava Pandavana Swartha Ivapi Tat Sambandhas Tad Abhasa Eva. So amongst the Yadavas and the Pandavas also, sometimes see that they're acting for their own selfish purpose, but that again is because it still somehow or another keeps a connection to Krishna, and therefore any apparent attachment there, it's only apparent, it's an abhasa, it's a mere semblance of attachment. So like the apparent selfishness of the Yadavas and Pandavas, their contact with sense pleasures is only a semblance, because it's said about them also. So here in a verse from the 90th chapter, the very last chapter of the 10th canto, Shaya Sanatanalapa Krira Snana Shanadishu Naviduk Santamatmanam Vrishnaya Krishna Chetasaha Tasya Sanatana Tanalapa Krira Snana Sanadishu Naviduk Santamatmanam Vrishnaya Krishna Chetasaha. So the Yadavas, right, the Vrishnis, they were so conscious of Krishna, they were Krishna Chetasa, their minds were so devoted to Krishna that they didn't even know, they weren't even aware of their own existence, even as they engaged in all these activities of going to bed and of getting up and of eating and so on and so forth. All these different activities they were engaged in, but they did it all just remembering Krishna, and the activities, the external activities, were just carried out automatically. The Vrishnis were oblivious of themselves. while sleeping, resting, walking, talking, sporting, bathing, and doing other such duties, because their minds were fixed on Krishna. And here's some more examples. Kinte kama surasparha mukunda manaso dvijaha adijahrur mudam ragyah kshuditasya yate tare. Kim te kama surasparha mukunda manaso vijaha adijahrur mudam ragyah kshuditasya yate tare. O Brahmanas, all these objects, desired even by the Devas, could not gratify the king, whose mind was fixed on Krishna, just as objects other than food do not appeal to a hungry man. So kshudita, a hungry person. So other things, itare, those things don't attract his mind. He's hungry, so he only thinks of that. So Yudhishthira, he was in the midst of so much plenty, but he thought of nothing because his heart, his belly was pining for Krishna. So he could only think of Krishna, like a hungry man only thinks of food. Ataha evam griheshu saktanam pramattanam tadihaya ityadikam ajahat lakshanaya tad upalakshitan dhritarashtradin apeksha uktam. Ata evanantaram vidura satad abhipretya ityado tena dhritarashtrasyaiva shiksha natu tesham api. Okay, well, this is a little bit complicated to explain, not impossible, but this is a subject, again, a new subject. So he's talking still about the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. So here it's stated about them, about the Pandavas. So Vidura, this is in the 12th and 13th chapters of the first canto. Vidura has come back from pilgrimage and he's been greeted by Yudhishthira. So in the first part, this is at the beginning of the 12th chapter. So this is the this is just in that prasanga there, as just the glorification of King Yudhishthira just before Vidura comes. Right? So now then the next thing is that, so this is at the beginning of the 12th chapter, so later on, it seems that it is said about the Pandavas that they are griheshu saktanam pramattanam tadihaya, that they are completely absorbed in material life. And so that whole verse goes on, right? But Jiva Goswami says to not take it that way, because in the very next verse, we see that it's about Dhritarashtra, that the kind of thing that's being spoken of is what suddenly we find that Vidura is saying Dhritarashtra to get out of the material bondage that he's there. So we'll talk about, see what it says in the commentary, but here are the two verses. Right? Evam griheshu saktanam pramattanam tadihaya atyakramad avigyatah kalah paramadustaraha vidurastadabhipretya dhritarashtram abhashata rajan nigamyatam shigram pashyedam bhayamagatam. Love it. Great verses. So, evam griheshu saktanam Pramatattanam tadihaya. So he's been talking about the Pandavas, right? So the Pandavas are in their homes. So he says, Evangiheshu saktanam pramattanam. And so they're preoccupied by their householder life. So atyakramad abhigyata kala paramadustaraha. So atyakramat, so it's the past is crossed over. Avigyata, unknown. Kalha, time. Paramadustara, the unstoppable. So the unstoppable force of time kept on moving, unnoticed. We don't notice the movement of time. But being absorbed in our material lives, time passes and suddenly we find that we're old. So this is what he is saying. He's actually thinking of Dhritarashtra, because, and that'll be explained. Vidura satad abhipretya Dhritarashtram abhashata. So with this intent, so it says that abhipretya, with this purpose in mind, and Vidura said to Dhritarashtra, Hey Rajan, nirgamyatam, hey king, get out, shigram, quick, get out. Pashidama bhayamagatam, fear is upon you, the fear of death. Right? Time is up. Insurmountable eternal time has imperceptibly caught up with those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in thought of them. Vidura knew all this and therefore addressed Dhritarashtra saying, My dear king, get out of here right now. Just see how fear is here upon you. Here's what Babaji says, a short comment. Sri Jiva Goswami cites a statement that clearly says that the Pandavas were very much attached to their family and kingdom. He resolves this contradiction by revealing that the statement applies to others like Dhritarashtra. For this, he advises us to apply the ajahat lakshana, or secondary meaning, by dropping some part of the word or its original meaning. The verse was spoken about all the family members alive at the time, which included the Pandavas as well as Dhritarashtra and his wife. But Sri Jiva says it should exclude the Pandavas, whom we know from other statements were completely dedicated to Krishna, to the point of forgetting about their own personal needs, thinking of him like a hungry man thinks of food, and should be applied only to Dhritarashtra and his wife. This is proved by the fact that Vidura gave instruction to Dhritarashtra to give up his attachment to royal comfort and go to the forest. I seem to remember more being said there about how shameful it was really that Dhritarashtra was still there after all his sons had been killed. And still he was hanging on to that shameful situation of being present in the kingdom of those who had slaughtered all his 100 sons. What a shameful situation to be in. So Vidura chastised him, saying that Dhritarashtra, how don't you see that death is upon you? Aren't you going to ever give up your attachment to this material position and power? Even here you've lost everything. You're ashamed, all your hopes have been dashed. And still you can't give up your attachment and give up everything to attain the lotus feet of Krishna, to attain liberation, to attain freedom from your sins. So Vidura is really giving him a piece of his chastisement there. Well, that's the end of that for 7.6. So let's just stop there for now. And we'll do another one.